my name is Emilia, and I am the host of the podcast. Today we'll be discussing substance use and the family, how different experiences can impact different cultures, as well as personal experiences of a few podcast members and research that other podcast members have provided, different treatment options, as well as the impact family has on substance use disorder. We created a Google form regarding if the person has family in active addiction or had family in addiction, as well as if the individual is in recovery. Regarding these questions, Darrell is going to speak about his wife's experiences and how it impacted her life and her family.
Question number 1. Addiction is often labeled a family disease. Do you think if family treatment was an option, would you have taken that route? The first answer to this question is, based on my relationship with this person, I did offer to try to get them treatment. And if it required me to be there, I would think at the time, the way the relationship was, I may have offered to be there. But also, I think because this person was older than me, what they had going on was beyond anything I could have contributed to, except physically being there for that support. Question number 2. How did having a family member in addiction affect you? Did it affect you mentally or physically? Both, because I was very young at the time, in my early 20s. I think mentally it affected me because I didn't have anyone there to help me at the time, and physically it became abusive. You could really tell when this person was not using. It was, I was raised by alcoholics, growing up with individuals that held themselves to a higher standard than everyone else, and yet put others down, mess with me mentally. I was never going to be enough. I was never going to be good enough. I was made out to be a failure. Therefore, I searched for validation through other means. If you have family that is or was in addiction. Question number 3. Was there anyone young in your family that addiction affected directly? Children, infants, teens? If so, was there any behaviors that changed when you were in this experience? Has those behaviors changed since being removed from that situation? Addiction affected directly means having contact with a person who is struggling with a substance use disorder. And the answer to that question was, outside of myself being affected directly, I believe my son was affected, and the reason why is the decisions that were made for him when he was in the care of his drug-addicted father may have not been the best decisions. The times that he wanted to spend with him from his family, said he would often leave my son with his grandmother without really taking a time to spend with him, because he used to curse and use the B word a lot. And as I could recall, I remember my son being at a young age and singing the song, but saying the B word a lot. During that time, my son was 2 or 3. Now he's 15. So there's been a dramatic change in his behavior on top of him not being around that person anymore. We no longer have contact with this person. As you can see through my significant other answering these questions, there is a bunch of mental and emotional abuse.
Substance abuse alters everything in the home. One major shift occurs in the family functioning and the support roles. According to the role of the family in alcohol use disorder recovery for adults, although individuals go through things physically, it is also proven that family support is detrimental. When a family member struggles with addiction, Others often compensate by taking additional responsibilities, managing crises, or attempting to motivate the individual towards treatment. These changes can cause immense stress, not only on the person struggling with the substance use disorder, however, immense stress on the whole family as a whole. Another significant impact is on children and the family stability. According from the impact of substance use disorders on families and children from theory to practice explains that substance use disorders affect the entire family as a whole unit. Krista is going to speak about a few different treatment options for people who struggle with the substance use disorder regarding the family dynamic and how family can make a huge impact on those in recovery.
My name is Krista, and I'm here to talk about how time and time again it has been proven that having family support during recovery is so beneficial to the person struggling with the substance use disorder. It's also beneficial to the family as well. The reason that this is because in family therapy, the family is placed in a safe and secure environment, safe and controlled environment. And when I say controlled, I mean that the counselor should be educated enough to be able to move the conversations in a safe direction if they feel like they're going into a place where it may cause arguments within the family that end up. It's okay to have arguments during family therapy, but if something is starting to get aggressive, the counselor should be able to just de-escalate that situation and bring the conversation to another place. This way, the family feels welcome to come back, and they want to keep coming back. They want to keep discussing issues that maybe the substance use has caused. The family is able to discuss like how they felt during the time that this person was using. The client is able to discuss with their family how they felt and how they felt about the reactions from their families and how important it is for them to have their family now during this time they are trying to stay sober. Having family support, it gives motivation to the client to stay sober. Their family starts trusting them again. They start inviting them to places again. They start involving the client. So we start in family therapy. It is good to like play games or certain activities where the family is able to connect. That way they learn to connect outside of therapy by using skill building, and that is just taking time out of their day to play cards or play a board game with their family to increase these social interactions and build that strong bond that families need to thrive. So this is the reason why having and treating the family as a whole, when you meet someone with a substance use disorder and the client comes in and they want help, it's good to ask, well, how is your family relationship and how is that dynamic? And would you like family therapy? And discuss this with your family, because the more support that this client has, the better chance they have at staying sober and being successful in sobriety. Thank you.
Jacqueline is going to speak about her personal experiences with her family.
My name is Jacqueline Martin, and I had asked a family member a few questions about their current drug addiction. Some of the questions were, what are some things that, may trigger you to do more drugs? And the family member was like, it's just something that they need, and they feel as if it helps them cope with a lot of things throughout their day or throughout their life. But they know in reality it doesn't, because once, their high is gone, the problem or whatever they may be going through is still there. I also asked them what may be some misunderstandings people may have about addiction. They felt as though that if you've never been in their shoes, that you shouldn't judge them, because their addiction is just the same as someone who has a shopping addiction, who has someone who may love to overeat, or someone who may love to gamble, or they feel as though it's an addiction. So they feel like people shouldn't, look down on them, or they feel as though, oh, because they're on, this type of drug, that they're a bad person. So they feel like that is a total big misunderstanding between that part. I also asked them, how do you handle like stressful situations? So they said that they turn to this drug. This drug helps them. It helps them not feel as though there's a problem going on. It helps them. It mellows them out. It also feels like they're in another zone, so they don't have to worry about that stressful situation at the moment. I asked them, has your family member been affected, or family members been affected by this addiction? They stated that that it has been affected. They have 3 beautiful daughters. Their daughters come down to his parents' house every other weekend, and he doesn't get to spend time with them because he's too busy trying to find his next high, or trying to find a way to purchase his next high. So he feels as though, it's drawn a wedge between him and his kids, because they don't get to spend as much time with their father as they should. And he knows that he's got to change. He said that one day he's going to change, and he hopes that it's never too late before he gets to change. I also asked them, have they overdosed? They said they have overdosed. They needed medical attention. The doctor told them that if they hadn't gotten there within the next 20 minutes, it could have been very fatal for them. The doctor had to give them Narcan, and they felt at that time, when the doctor was talking to them, like, he felt as though, hey, I need to stop. But he said he stopped for a few weeks, but his body, it drew him back to it. And I asked him about support groups. He said that to him, support groups aren't something that he needs, because he feels as though when he goes in there, it's just a bunch of people talking about what they're doing or what they're going through and why they're on the drug. He said that he doesn't need that from a support group.
Despite these challenges, families can be a powerful agent in recovery. Research shows that when families receive support and education, they can help motivate treatment, reinforce healthy behaviors, and rebuild trust. Made it this far. Thanks for listening to our podcast.